We've got new data out about people buying groceries from apps, but now not just from Instacart, but from the actual grocery stores apps. Let's check that out. So let's revisit some of the grocery analysis. We talked a lot about grocery in the throes of COVID. Haven't talked about it in a little bit. What's interesting is, so there's a recent report that came out comparing how much adoption the grocers, the actual retailers' apps have gotten. Looking at Kroger versus Albertsons versus Publix and ShopRite, HEB, right? All these guys. A couple of these grocers have also announced their own marketplace initiatives. And then some of those marketplace initiatives have actually gone away. Kroger's the leader in this comparison, followed by Albertsons. And then if you look more recently, Ahold, which owns Food Lion and Stop & Shop, and Fresh Direct, which is on my other chart. And we helped Ahold in the acquisition of Fresh Direct. Those are your top three. But then, the number 4, 5, 6 player are from there, somewhat similar in ranking. What this chart doesn't include is looking at Instacart, Walmart, Shipt, Fresh Direct, and Peapod, also both owned by Ahold. Main takeaways, though, are digital adoption of ordering your groceries through an app or online is growing. Kind of a no-brainer. Delivery and pickup, a huge component of that. How can you provide that convenience as a part of the experience? And actually pickup particularly during COVID, pickup was the thing that actually had Walmart's app explode in terms of downloads. It was grocery pickup or just pickup in general for Walmart. So, but grocery being the really big area where customers didn't want to go into the store. They needed groceries. And during COVID, hey, Walmart will now let you do pickup for your groceries and just, sit in your car and groceries will be brought out to you. That was actually, I think, probably the biggest driver of adoption for the Walmart app. We had videos on this where you saw Walmart's app just at the top of the download list and huge growth in e-commerce. And a big part of that, if you remember what they did in the app, is they kind of broke out the grocery part from the workflow and really accelerated the ability to do pickup for groceries. So very rapidly changing environment. You've seen, Kroger go into Florida with Ocado, which is really purely a delivery model. No stores. Publix is huge in Florida. It's where they're headquartered. And so Kroger's trying to go into Florida, but now in a kind of basically purely like a dark store type of model. Ocado out of the UK has a lot of these kind of automation technologies. You've seen Ahold invest in similar technologies. And then you've seen the actual flavor of marketplace also come onto this, right? How could you broaden that product catalog and offer other products, natural and specialty products, other products that maybe you're not going to get from the store, and allow those to be delivered. We've seen Amazon's actually put the brakes on a lot of the Amazon retail push, which was all the rave over the past couple of years. Yes, they have Whole Foods, obviously, but a lot of the physical Amazon rollout has actually been paused or is actually shuttering some of those stores. Also, another very interesting dynamic in all of this. So going back to this article, they ranked the grocery store's ability in these 4 areas: coupons, loyalty and rewards, inventory, price check, and cart. Whatever that means, curbside pickup, right? Those 3 would actually be, to me, the biggest ones. Curbside pickup actually showing that a majority of these players are not doing so well there. And again, based upon the Walmart story, that's a huge driver. Loyalty makes sense. You actually spend a lot of money on groceries. Those rewards programs are a huge driver, particularly in these, recurring, high repeat customer markets. This is in large part linear competition. Albertsons had tried to create a marketplace And then they shuttered it, kind of went away. Kroger has announced a marketplace. Ahold has announced a marketplace, right? So all three of these leading players here have all announced marketplace initiatives. They're all somewhat nascent. So I don't think that's really the difference maker here. And how they view marketplace is different than how Instacart views marketplace. Instacart is just connecting you to different retailers. They're disintermediating this right here. Instacart hates this chart, which is just people using the actual grocery store's app rather than Instacart. And I think loyalty is probably one of the biggest hooks that those apps can do to say, hey, order through my app and you're going to get the loyalty. But if you order through Instacart, you don't. I mean, you got to have curbside pickup figured out if you really want to compete with Instacart. Instacart's business model is challenged because they don't actually hold the inventory, right? Like Instacart's ability to actually make money. That's why you've seen Instacart move more into trying to make money on the ads and then go around to the suppliers, which makes sense because they really haven't been able to make money on the actual purchasing of groceries because they don't actually hold the inventory. It's such a low margin business. In the early days of Instacart, they're actually tacking on, actually increasing the price of the goods that you'd buy on Instacart versus if you just went to the store and they were making margin there. That's all gone away. They got into some trouble for that. And so it's very, very difficult for them to actually make any money in this process. Hence, hiring all these executives away from Facebook, and going really heavy into ads. There's actually a lot of money in that. These suppliers want to be able to influence consumers' purchasing decisions at the point of sale. And who could better do that than Instacart and do that across all these different grocers? Which is interesting because that actually dovetails with this other Amazon initiative here, which Amazon just rolled out. Even though Amazon's put a pause on really kind of rolling out Fresh and Amazon Go and all these things, they've just launched this, they call it Data Platform for Physical Store Suppliers. Amazon has introduced an analytics tool that allows CPGs to track shopper interest in products they sell in Amazon Go and Amazon Fresh stores, equipped with their frictionless, I think they call it just walk out technology. The new service known as Store Analytics will provide suppliers with aggregated and anonymized insights, collected by Amazon's just walk out and dash cart systems about how customers interact with items and whether they purchase them. So what does this mean? It's more than just saying, hey, like what products are people buying? And then give me some sense of location. And so I kind of look at demographics and all that kind of stuff, right? They're trying to go a level deeper with this. Brands will be able to know the percentage of people who take a product off the shelf and then buy it. Okay, interesting. Like you take it off the shelf and then you don't buy it. I guess some people do that. With Amazon Go, you really have to put it back. Otherwise, they charge you if you don't put it back in the same place, which helps the grocery stores have a lot of money they lose just in terms of lossage, right? You take yogurt, you don't put it back, it goes bad, you got to throw it out. I think it's like 3% of lossage, which in a low margin business is a big deal. But not only do they buy it in the store, or do they buy it online on Amazon.com? That's interesting, right? So you're kind of hooking the in-store experience with the digital experience. See how well they can actually deliver on that premise, but it's an interesting concept, providing greater kind of connectivity if you're doing ads in the store, and then mapping back those metrics. I think it's interesting, right? It's new. This is nascent, but how can you bring more data to the in-store shopping experience? How can you kind of connect the loop back to what you're buying digitally, right? Especially now with more and more people using digital apps, whether it's Instacart or now more and more of the grocery store's actual apps. What's actually a disruptive play in all of this? I do think the automation and these kind of like micro warehouses, automated kind of like MFCs, like micro fulfillment centers that can put product close to the customer, and have a very low cost to serve, particularly when you look at more suburban areas and geographies that aren't as high density. I think you're starting to see, The verdict is still out, but Kroger's made a big play in Florida. That is a way that technology is completely kind of reinventing how you sell groceries, right? It's more than just like an app or a marketplace, right? It's actually kind of an end-to-end supply chain shift. So I think things in that direction, to me, are really where you're going to see kind of game-changing capabilities as it relates to fresh, hyper-localized shopping, right? Grocery, these kinds of areas. If you're interested in this video, go check out our older videos like 2020, 2021, when we were looking at Walmart versus Instacart versus Shipt, and how, Target bought Shipt and how that has just not performed at all. Go check out those videos.